Australia, a wild land where nature once reigned supreme. From kangaroos and koalas to emus and platypuses, every creature here bears the mark of millions of years of evolution, isolated from the rest of the world. But when humans arrived, they not only brought civilization, but also inadvertently opened the door to the most dangerous invaders in the continent's ecological history. Among the alien species that threaten the Australian ecosystem, the red fox is the name that makes the whole country alert. Cunning, adaptable and resilient, the red fox has become a living testament to the power of nature when it loses its inherent balance. They move in silence, hunting with the precision of instincts honed over thousands of years of evolution. Not noisy, not aggressive, but the consequences they leave behind are extremely far-reaching. With the ability to reproduce explosively, in just a few years, the number of red foxes increased by millions, flooding grasslands, farms, and even the once peaceful forests. No small creature can escape their clutches, from poultry to small birds and even rare marsupials.
I think it's done there.
Farmers lost their crops and hunters had to carry guns and infrared lights, patrolling the dusty fields every night.
Got him! Heck of a shot.
Gunshots echoed in the darkness, lights swept across the glowing eyes of the war between humans and foxes that was going on every night, without mercy. Now, Australia is facing a harsh reality. Native nature is being devoured by alien species every day. The origin of the disaster called Red Fox began with the passion for hunting of humans.
Tally-ho! Hooray! Let's ride! Let's ride!
At the end of the 19th century, when British settlers arrived in Australia, they brought the red fox with them for the simple purpose of serving sport hunting. But no one expected that the pastime of the aristocracy would open a dark chapter in the ecological history of the entire continent. In the new environment, the red fox had almost no natural enemies. The temperate climate, abundant food sources, and the amazing reproductive ability of a female that could give birth to 2 litters per year, each litter of up to 10 pups helped them multiply rapidly beyond control. Within a few decades, millions had spread across the southern and central states, from Victoria to New South Wales, destroying crops and decimating native animals that had never feared this predator. They had no need for strength. They won with adaptation and intelligence. At night, packs of red foxes crept through grasslands, forest edges, and even suburban villages, leaving behind only feathers, blood, and the screeching of chickens. No other exotic predator has caused as much damage to Australia as the red fox. Once introduced for entertainment, they have now become the continent's #1 ecological threat. According to Australian government estimates, there are more than 7.2 million red foxes living across the country, with a range stretching from southern states like Victoria and New South Wales to the arid central west. Each year, red fox packs kill about 300 million native animals, including birds, chickens, hares, small marsupials, and even rare species like bilbies and bettongs. A series of native animals that have never faced this type of predator are on the brink of extinction. Statistics from the Department of Environment and Energy show that at least 20 native species have completely disappeared, mainly due to the spread of red foxes. Not only do they kill wildlife, red foxes also cause economic damage of more than 200 million USD a year, including slaughtered poultry, lost livestock, and population control costs. They sneak into farms, dig up chicken coops, and slaughter entire flocks in one night just to satisfy their hunting instincts. What do you think when a species brought for entertainment has now become Australia's biggest ecological disaster? Leave your comments below. Ecologists call the red fox the perfect predator, compact, agile, highly adaptable, and with an excellent memory. They operate alone at night, avoid traps, recognize human scent, and even change routes when they feel they are being watched. In the middle of a scorching hot afternoon, the grasslands of South Australia seem to be smoking. The sound of off-road vehicle engines tore through the silence. The red fox hunters began their pursuit in broad daylight, working with the government's ecological control force in a giant campaign of war between humans and Australia's most cunning predator. From the sky, drones circled, scanning the ground with infrared cameras, detecting fast-moving heat spots in the bushes. On the ground, smart traps with GPS were set along the trails, waiting for the right moment. A short whistle sounded, signaling that the signal had been sent. The hunting team immediately deployed their formation, rifles raised, scopes reflecting the dazzling sunlight. In front, a red fox appeared and disappeared among the grass, its eyes shining, its body moving quickly like a trail of smoke. The hunter closed in, held his breath, tightened the trigger, bang. The bullet tore through the air, dust flew everywhere. The animal disappeared into the grass, leaving behind a faint trail of footprints leading to the trap that had been set. At the edge of the forest, 1,080 poison baits were scattered in a controlled manner, marked with GPS coordinates. A precise battlefield down to the centimetre. Everything happened quickly, neatly, and no mistakes were allowed. In the blazing sunlight, the hunt was no longer a game, but a battle to regain the right to survive on their own land. The battle between humans and red foxes had no winners, because the real enemy was not the animals, but the imbalance created by humans. Only by knowing how to stop and respect the limits of nature can humans coexist with all species in a harmonious ecosystem. This hunt has no winners, only valuable lessons. What do you think about how humans control invasive species? Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to follow the most dramatic and true survival stories. Amid the desolate swamps and mangroves of Australia's Northern Territory, a silent threat is spreading: the invasive buffalo. Introduced from Southeast Asia in the 19th century for farming and transporting goods, buffalo were once a symbol of strength and industriousness. But as agriculture changed, they were abandoned, gradually escaping human control and becoming completely feral. Today, more than 150,000 wild buffalo roam across northern Australia, from the Arnhem Land swamps to the Kakadu rainforest. Weighing more than half a ton, with long horns and a volatile temperament, they can knock down steel fences, destroy roads, collapse wooden bridges, and attack anyone who dares to come near. Deep footprints in the mud, muddy puddles, and trampled grasslands are clear evidence of the devastating power of these giant animals. Not only are they dangerous to humans, buffalo also destroy the fragile ecosystems of northern Australia. They erode soil, destroy waterfowl nests, spread diseases to livestock, and distort wetlands that are breeding grounds for many rare species. Once a species brought to help humans, buffalo have now become a symbol of the consequences of introducing creatures without considering the long-term impact. And in the Northern Territory today, people are paying the price for the decisions their ancestors made more than a century ago. The rampage of wild buffalo in northern Australia has become a veritable ecological disaster. With an estimated population of more than 150,000, they not only destroy agriculture but also ravage strictly protected areas. In the Kakadu National Park, a World Natural Heritage Site, herds of buffalo weighing several tons trample swamps, collapse riverbanks, destroy waterfowl nests, and severely damage mangrove ecosystems. Once fertile lands are now eroded, polluted, and unable to recover. When buffalo bask in the water, they stir up mud, change the pH, and cause many aquatic species to weaken and gradually disappear from the habitat. They do not stop there. They attack farmers, damage tractors, knock down steel fences, and even crash into trucks, injuring many people.
Blimey, look how many there is.
In the vast Kakadu swamp, the buffalo hunt begins before the sun has even risen. In the sky, helicopters roar, tearing through the thick fog, carrying professional hunters licensed by the government, the only people authorised to kill buffalo to protect the fragile ecosystem of northern Australia. In the middle of a sweltering morning in the Kakadu swamp, the roar of helicopters tears through the quiet air. Under the thin mist, giant buffalo shadows move slowly through the mud, herds of dozens of them, heavy like living machines. In the cockpit, two licensed professional hunters were ready to act, one piloting, the other holding a long-range rifle, eyes glued to the infrared scope. As the helicopter descended, water spray flew up, the buffalo herd scattered in shock. "Target!" the pilot shouted over the sound of the propellers. The hunter held his breath, pulled the trigger, and the explosion resounded. Boom! The buffalo, weighing nearly a ton, stopped and collapsed. The ground shook like thunder. The whole cabin shook for a moment, adrenaline rushing. No one said a word. In addition, licensed hunters use long-range rifles to control the huge herds of buffalo that spread across the muddy fields of the Northern Territory. The hunter crouched down, his hand clutching the heavy rifle. Ahead, a giant buffalo roared loudly, its curved horns reflecting the sunlight.
He's done!
The air was thick, only the sound of the wind and his pounding heart could be heard. He pressed his eyes to the scope, his breathing ragged, sweat running down his back. Suddenly, the buffalo turned its head, its fierce gaze locked with the hunter. In an instant, the bullet left the barrel with a loud bang, dust flying up. The animal collapsed, the ground shaking like an earthquake. The hunter stood still, breathing in the smoke, knowing that each pull of the trigger was not just a shot, but a battle between survival and instinct where only one side was allowed to breathe. Every year, dozens of such control campaigns were launched, with thousands of buffalo killed or captured for resettlement. It was not a trophy hunt, but an ecological imperative to keep the Kakadu swamp, home to hundreds of species of birds and fish, from being flattened by the blind power of the animals that humans had brought.
From there. You use.
The red fox and the buffalo, two seemingly unrelated species, are both clear symbols of the consequences of uncontrolled biological introduction. One is small, agile and cunning, the other is huge, slow but devastating. The red fox spreads like an invisible epidemic, while the buffalo leaves a deep footprint on the land and in the ecosystem. Red foxes are stealthy master predators that have spread across Australia's southern and central states, causing hundreds of native species to decline. They are fast, smart, and virtually uncontrollable. Despite government drones, smart traps, and poison bait, their numbers continue to spiral out of control, and each year hundreds of millions of native animals are lost to them. In contrast, wild buffalo are pure destruction. Weighing more than half a ton, they destroy grasslands, tear up wetlands, erode soil, and pollute water sources, costing reserves like Kakadu tens of millions of dollars a year.
Good shot!
Neither species is at fault. They are simply following their instincts to survive. But it is humans who, by introducing them without considering the consequences, have set off an irreversible chain reaction of ecological damage. The red fox and buffalo are now not just invasive species, but stark warnings that any interference with nature has a price. Nature is quietly fighting back after hundreds of years of human intervention and unbridled exploitation. From fields ploughed by buffalo to reserves silenced by red foxes, all signs point to a serious imbalance in Australia's ecosystem. Only a partnership between humans, technology and ecology can now pave the way to saving nature. Intelligent control instead of destruction, restoration instead of destruction. Every step, no matter how small, contributes to shaping the future of this unique land. If we don't change, the boundary between humans and nature will disappear and then no one will be left standing. Let's protect Australia's native ecosystems before the last sounds of forests and plains are only a memory. A true story that sounds like it came from a legend is waiting for you to discover. Humans face the biggest lizard on the planet, Komodo dragon, on the dry, harsh islands of Indonesia. The question is no longer are they dangerous, but how to survive living next to them. Imagine you are standing on a sunburnt land, while a creature over 3 meters long, weighing nearly 90 kilograms is lurking. How will you face it? Komodo dragons, nature's apex predators, have large teeth and saliva containing toxic bacteria that can cause infection. Just one bite is enough to bring down prey, from goats, pigs to even large cattle. Farmers here know the price. Every year, Komodo dragons wreak havoc, sweeping away property and causing millions of dollars in damage. In their shadow, no animal dares to roam free. To address this issue, the Indonesian government has come up with a bold but cautious strategy of controlled hunting. This is not a hunt for pleasure, but a mission to protect the community and maintain ecological balance. On the harsh islands, each hunting license becomes a matter of survival. Issued in rare numbers by the Ministry of Environment and Forestry, only 60 to 120 per year. That number depends on environmental conditions and the presence of a monster called the Komodo dragon. Those chosen to face the Komodo dragon are not daredevils, but experienced hunters who understand the heavy responsibility on their shoulders. This was no ordinary hunt, but a battle to the death. They went in teams of 4 or 5, carrying high-powered rifles, the only weapons accurate and powerful enough to take down the beast. When the dry season from April to October comes, food sources are depleted, Komodo dragons become more aggressive than ever, approaching their prey in terrible hunger.